So lately in the second grade, you guys have been working on tons of writing, and you brought today a sample with you from one of your most recent writing. Can you tell me, explain, well first tell me, what kind of writing did you do for that piece?
Narrative.
Narrative writing, excellent. Can you explain a little bit about what narrative writing is?
Narrative is using mostly adjectives and describing a certain piece of writing or part of a story.
Whose story? Who are you writing about in a narrative?
Well, in this narrative story, we wrote about ourselves.
Yeah, narrative writing is all about yourself. I like what you said. You said that you use adjectives. Why do you use adjectives? Why are adjectives so special? What do they help you do?
Because they describe.
They describe. Do they describe in a silly way or in a fun, exciting way?
They can do it in both.
They can do it in both. They can do it in lots of ways, right? You could use adjectives to describe how something looks, how something feels, how something tastes. Excellent. So how did you, for this particular piece, and I know that you've been doing a lot of writing, and I've seen in second grade that you use a special thing when you plan for your writing. What do you use to plan?
We mostly use a rough draft or a foursquare.
Yeah, so you use a foursquare to get your rough draft. So what is a foursquare?
A foursquare, it's called a foursquare, but it has 5 squares.
It has 5 squares, and it helps you to write could be a paragraph or a story, right?
Each box has a certain, you have to write a certain thing in each box.
So each box has its own certain idea. Like I know for that one, in the first box, you had to talk about the setting, right? You had to describe when it was happening and where it was happening. And then throughout the narrative writing, you had to, for each different box, you had to talk about something else, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So by the time you're finished, you're left with a whole story that describes a particular event that happened, right?
And mostly we use rough drafts because if we just start with the regular one, where if we make mistakes, we're going to have to start all over, but if we do it on the rough draft, we can edit it and then do it on the regular.
Oh, I like that word, editing. So you don't write just one time and you're done, right?
You have to write it twice.
You have to write it twice. So you write it down to get your ideas, and then you go back and you try to fix any mistakes. Sometimes does your teacher help with that? Do you ever help each other with that?
Mostly.
Yeah, so you try to be a good friend and a good helper and a good editor, and you try to find somebody else's mistakes. Excellent. And do you reread your work once it's done?
Mostly.
Yeah, mostly. Excellent. So, is that the only kind of writing you've done this year? What other kinds of writing have you done in the second grade?
Persuasive.
Ooh, persuasive writing. Did you like persuasive writing? What's the point? What do you do when you do persuasive writing? Why do you do persuasive writing?
You try to convince.
Ooh, you try to convince someone about something, right?
Like when we did the turkey writing.
Oh, you did turkey writing, and I remember that. You did turkey writing near Thanksgiving, and what were you trying to convince people to do?
Not to eat the turkey.
Not to eat the turkey, and I remember that you disguised it, right? What was your disguise?
Mine was a dinosaur.
Yours was that's a good disguise. Did it work? I think so. I think your turkey was safe. Did you do any other kind of writing? So you've done persuasive and you've done narrative. Was there anything else that you did?
We did some poems at the beginning of the year.
Some poems. Do you like poems?
Poems are really good, like the one we did for Dr. Seuss.
Oh, what kind of poem was that?
That one didn't make much sense, but it was just really silly.
It was a silly poem. And did you have to do anything special with the words in the poem?
Some of them had to rhyme.
Some of them had to rhyme. Was that hard?
Not really.
No. Did you plan a little bit for it? Did you have a special sheet that you used to plan?
I think.
Yeah. I think I remember that. So you've done with Foursquare, you've used some special other tools to help you plan. Did you do any writing where you explained something?
Yeah.
Maybe the way something looks?
We used a lot of adjectives.
So in your descriptive writing, when you're explanatory writing, you used a lot of adjectives. Well, Hakeem, I want to end by asking you, what's your favorite kind of writing?
I think mine is persuasive.
You think it's persuasive. Why do you like persuasive writing?
Because you're trying to convince someone not to do something.
Oh, so sometimes you can convince someone not to do something. Is that fun, giving reasons to convince people?
Yeah, because if you persuade them, you can convince them to get what you want.
You can get what you want. Well, thank you, Hakeem, for sharing with us a little bit about writing in the second grade.
One early childhood chilly morning, I looked outside. I woke everyone up because I couldn't believe my eyes. I climbed up the bunk bed ladder to my sister's bed and said, "Look at all the snow. Want to have a snowball fight?" She looked at me for a second and then fell back to asleep. This was after a big blizzard. Not just any blizzard, a huge blizzard of snow. After my sister woke up, I said, "Hurry up and put on your clothes." Then I told her I couldn't wait any longer. "Hurry up!" My sister and I and twin brothers Ashraf and Akram got ready with me. My brothers were so excited, they started to run around like maniacs. "Calm down," I said. "You can't just run around all day." I had a lot of fun with them, but it got pretty cold out. My brothers never calmed down, so I had to pick them up and take them inside. Playing in the snow that day was tremendous. We climbed the snow and even had a snowball fight. Next time when my brothers are older and we get another blizzard, we can play in the snow or even try to go skiing.
So Khalud, you brought some work to share with us today. And can you tell me what grade you're in? Second grade, and I know that you've been working a lot with writing. I've seen lots of things in the hallway of second grade writing. The piece that you brought today to share with me is what kind of writing?
Narrative.
Narrative writing. Wow, you spent a lot of time on that narrative project. Can you explain a little bit what narrative means?
Narrative means telling about your past.
Mm-hmm. Do you tell about your whole past, or you pick one kind of big thing that happened and really explain about it?
Well, I picked one today.
So you picked, for that specific writing, you picked about a winter day and you told everything you could about it, right? So how did you, before you wrote that, how did you go about planning for it? What did you use to plan?
A foursquare.
So you used a foursquare, and that was a sheet that kind of helped you organize your ideas, and it had 4 squares on it. Can you explain a little bit about the foursquare? What exactly do you put in a foursquare?
Well, in the first box, you have your hook sentence.
And what's a hook sentence?
It's your beginning sentence.
Is it a boring sentence or an exciting sentence?
An exciting sentence to make the reader want to read it more.
Oh, okay. So, I get it. You hook the reader in. You make them want to read. And then in each other box, what do you put there? Do you put like details? Do you explain a little bit about each part of your story? So does your teacher give you like a focus for each box that you have to write about?
Yeah.
Like she might tell you describe the setting in one box and then describe the most exciting part, and then the end always comes at the very last box? Mm-hmm. Excellent. So have you used that foursquare before too?
Yeah.
So you've used it a couple of times now. Do you like the foursquare?
Yeah, because it helps you keep it like organized,
So,
not like everywhere.
Oh, okay. So it helps you keep nice and focused and your ideas clear. Excellent. So I seen you did some other writing in the second grade besides narrative. I seen a turkey writing. What was that all about?
That writing was persuasive. We were trying to persuade the person not to eat it.
Not to eat you, and you had to disguise your turkey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to give any reasons why you shouldn't be eaten?
Yeah.
And so that's what your persuasive writing was. It was trying to convince someone not to eat you for Thanksgiving. Did you like that writing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of silly and fun, and you got to decorate your turkey?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And I seen you did a little bit of poetry, and I know you did poetry last week. What did you do poetry about? Any rhyming things you did?
Dr. Seuss.
Oh, so you tried to make some silly rhymes like Dr. Seuss? And I seen a little bit of the planning. You had to brainstorm some rhyming words. Was that difficult?
A little bit, but not that much.
So after you got the hang of it, it was a little bit easier. And did you like the poetry writing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And one more. I seen some snowman writing. Can you tell me a little bit about the snowman writing?
That was descriptive writing.
Descriptive writing. So you were the snowman. You disguised, or your snowman got lost, and you described for the reader what it looked like, so they could find your snowman mixed in with all the other snowmans.
Mm-hmm.
And did you use any fancy words in your snowman writing?
Yes, I use adjectives.
Lots of adjectives. And what are adjectives?
They're describing.
Describing words, like a red sweater or tall boy. Excellent. So do you like writing in the second grade?
Yeah.
If you had to choose, Khalud, what would be your favorite kind of writing? What do you like the most?
Descriptive.
Why do you like descriptive writing?
Because you get to describe.
So you like to describe, you like to give a lot of information and details? Well, I've read your writing and you are a fantastic writer. Is there anything else that you have to add, or? Well, thank you very much for sharing with us today about your writing. You're welcome.
One day, I woke up and ate breakfast. After I ate, my mom told me we're going ice skating with my best friend and my 2 sisters. I was so excited. I went ice skating at Constitution Park. The day I went was a winter day. The weather was chilly. When we parked, we had to wait an extra 5 minutes because there was a hockey game going on. The ice felt freezing on my bare hands. It felt hard when I fell on the ice. I felt free. I could just glide. After a while, we got tired. When we could finally go inside, me and my best friend ran in. Our cheeks were so red, we kept laughing at each other. When we went back to my house, we drank hot chocolate and watched a funny movie. I want to go ice skating with my best friend sometime again.
Hello, Jose.
Hi.
And what grade are you in, Jose?
First grade.
You're in the 1st grade, and I see I have a couple of different projects here that you've done, and the most recent one is this right here. Can you tell me what this is?
A how to be poem.
It's a how to be poem. Very good. Who did you pick to describe in this poem? How to be who?
Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat. And why did you pick Cat in the Hat? Was it someone special's birthday that you were celebrating?
Yeah.
Whose birthday?
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. Very good. And when you did this, was there a way that you had to plan? Did you have to think about anything before you could write this?
Yeah.
What did you have to think about?
How he acts.
How he acts. So you had to read his book, Cat in the Hat, and you had to think about the things that he does in the book. And did that help you write?
Yeah.
And I see here, looking at it, it looks spectacular. There are no mistakes at all. In the 1st grade, if you had a mistake, how would you know? Is there a way that you go back and you check for mistakes?
The acting teacher.
So sometimes you meet with your teacher
Yeah.
and you ask her if she can help you. And what happens if you two find a mistake together?
You can ask a friend if they know if this is right or wrong.
So you can double check with a friend. So sometimes you work with your classmates to find mistakes. Do you ever fix the mistakes when you find them?
Yeah.
So you go back and you make sure. And after you fix the mistakes, do you reread it one more time to double check for any more mistakes?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of steps, right, to write something like this, and this is super special because it gets hung up. Do you always do that? Do you always go back and reread your writing to make sure it makes sense?
Yes.
Excellent. So this one looks amazing, and I see some other writing samples that I have. Look at this illustration. That's beautiful. What did you write about in this project?
My family's tradition.
Oh, so you wrote about your family. You did some narrative writing. You explained how you what? Is it about your tradition for what day?
Christmas.
Christmas. So you explained about how you and your family celebrate Christmas?
Yeah.
And did you have to think back to past Christmases and think about the things that you do?
Yeah.
Did you use any special planning sheet when you did this? Did you use something to help you organize your thoughts?
No.
No, not this one. Did you ever use the 4-square before?
Yeah.
And what is a 4-square? Can you tell us what a 4-square is?
A 1st grade, you write at the first one. You write what you're writing about, and then at the second one, when you write what you celebrated with.
Excellent. So you could use it to organize your thoughts. In the first box, you introduce what you're going to write about, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5 boxes kind of give the details. They explain the story, maybe if you're writing a narrative. So have you used it once or a bunch of times?
A bunch of stuff.
And do you like using the 4-square?
Yeah.
Does it make writing a little bit easier for you?
Yeah.
Excellent. And I see one more piece of writing that you have here. Look at that. What kind of writing is this? What did you write this for? Did you read a special book when you did this writing?
Yeah.
What book did you read?
I wanted to one.
So after you read I Want an Iguana, what did you have to do? What was the writing that you had to do? Did you have to think about something you wanted?
Yeah.
And then why did you write this? What were you trying to do?
Make my mom buy me
Oh, you were trying to make your mom buy you something. And what were you trying to make her buy you?
a pet fish.
A pet fish. And did you Did you have to give her reasons why you should have a pet fish?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did it work? Did you get a pet fish?
Yeah.
Who got you a pet fish?
My grandma.
So would you say that you were a good writer?
Yeah.
I think so too if you got your pet fish. So Jose, if I look at all these writing, every single one of them is amazing, and I can't believe that you wrote some of these things. This is wonderful. Which kind of writing do you think is your favorite? Which one do you like the most?
I wanted one.
You like the I want an iguana? And do you like to try to convince people?
Yeah.
Why?
But they can buy me my pet.
So they can buy you something, in this case a pet?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jose, for sharing with us, and you do such an amazing job in the first grade. Keep up the good work. You're welcome.
Be fun. Be sad. Act silly. Do tricks. Be teeny. Act clumsy. Always be worried. Have fish. Sing. Be cool. Worry. Wear a big hat. I want a pet fish. I want a pet fish because I want to feed him. I will call him Batman. I really want one, please.
So, hello. Can you tell us your name and your grade?
My name is John, and my grade is number 1.
So you're in the first grade?
Yeah.
Wow, and I see that first grade's been doing a lot of writing this year. Have you been doing a lot of writing in your class? So the writing that I have from you, John, is a writing that you did about the Cat in the Hat. And can you explain what you were supposed to do with this writing?
You were supposed to think what if you had the Cat in the Hat's red box, you had to think what you would put inside of it.
Oh, so Cat in the Hat keeps thing 1 and thing 2 in a big red box. And it was your turn to think about, if you had a big red box, what you would keep in it.
Yeah.
Excellent. And did you think this writing was fun?
Yeah.
Did you have to do a lot of explaining in it
Yeah.
and describing? And I seen that you used some fancy words. Can you tell me what word that is?
First.
Then, and what else did you use? How about that word?
Next.
Next. So you told a story and you used some really, really fancy words to tell your stories, and you got a lot of commas here and apostrophes, and I can see that you got some endings to your sentences. Is this the first copy that you made, or did you do something before this?
I did the sloppy copy before
Oh, what's a sloppy copy?
It's like that same story, except you make it by yourself, and if there's any mistakes, the teacher helps you fix it, so when you do your second one, you don't do any mistakes.
Oh, so it's the one that you do before this. It's the one that you use to get your ideas down and to write your story, and then you go back with your teacher and you fix any mistakes, and then you can make it look fantastic like this one?
Yeah.
And perfect? Wow. So have you done any other kind of writing this year in the first grade?
Lots of things.
Lots of writing. And I remember a couple of weeks ago you had something with compare and contrast, right?
Yeah, it was contrasting the story of the 3 little pigs and the true story of the 3 little pigs.
Oh, and can you explain a little bit what it means to compare and contrast?
Comparing means you try to look for the things that are the same between 2 things or over. And contrasting means you try to look for the things that are different between 2 things or over.
In that one, you didn't use a sloppy copy. You used a special kind of paper, right? You used one that had certain spaces that you were supposed to write in?
Yeah.
So did you do a lot of writing like that too, like on special paper?
Yeah.
Oh, so sometimes you get to tell like your own story, and then other times you use special papers that the teacher gives you to fill in, and usually you write about stories that you've read?
Yeah.
Do you like writing about stories that you read?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it interesting work for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hear that you haven't written a lot about yourself yet. Are you looking forward to that kind of writing where you get to tell a story?
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of stories that you could tell, you think?
Yeah, it would probably take probably over 2 or 3 papers.
To tell a story about yourself?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite kind of writing, John, that you do in the first grade?
All of it.
You like everything? Everything's your favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah, and was there a special day that you think was your favorite kind of writing, like The Cat in the Hat or a holiday that you like to write about?
Mostly no, just all of them are my favorite. All.
Every kind of writing?
Yeah, all the kinds of writing that we did in first grade.
All of them. Well, thank you, John, for spending some time with me and describing your writing.
You're welcome. In my red box, I would put my iPad in it, so on rainy days, I will share it with my friends. First, I would do Lexia. Then, I would play with my games on my iPad with my friends. I'll play Angry Birds Go. I'll update all my Speedway cars. Next, we'll play Dragon City. We'll grow food for my dragons. Then I'll get gold from my dragons' habitats.